Okay, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today is the 6th of April. And look at it out there. Can you see it? Snow. Yeah, it's been snowing all day. So, I got two of my best assistants here, and we're working on a mushroom project. And I've been wanting to share a little bit of this information for a while, but the idea here is we cut these logs. You can see that is the diameter of that log is probably 5 or 6 inches across. So these would be the smaller trees that are under the canopy out in the forest. The big trees, we leave them. But these ones will never really amount to much. So this is a good way to utilize them. Let's say that they're 8 inches at the bottom. Maybe we would take them off as well, but then the bottom 6 feet of the tree, let's just use that for firewood. Something like this, although this would be good for firewood. It was on the firewood pile. We're going to use it for a mushroom log. So what you need is you need hardwood logs, and you want to cut them in the fall and then let them sit over the winter. You want them in a dormant state. We don't want the sap to be flowing hard through them. So you wouldn't want to take them out of the forest this time of the year when, you know, it's getting warm during the day and cold at night and the sap's flowing. So these were cut last fall. They're still green. They're on my wood pile, and they would be there. They would be cut this summer, and then they would dry the entire summer and be used for firewood next fall. But these ones we're going to use for mushroom logs. So that's the log that we want to use. We've done it with just about every hardwood that we have around here. And this is oak, but I have done it with maple. And let's see, what else have we used? Done some with birch. It doesn't work real good. What you want is a heavy log, because the process goes something like this. We get these plugs. Well, actually, this is the first time we've done this. We used to just get sawdust that was inoculated with what they call mycelium, and you can do some research on that. But mycelium is, well, I don't really know what mycelium is. What is mycelium? Mycelium is mycelium. But when we take this little dowel here, it's a little wooden dowel, see? It's even got little ridges in it. And we drill a hole into the log. And Frank, why don't you demonstrate putting a dowel into the log? There's a hole there that Jim has drilled. And now Frank's gonna just hammer that baby right in until it's flush. That's it. So on this log, we've drilled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to turn it a quarter turn, put another 5 or 6. We want them spaced out on the log, and what'll happen is the mycelium that's in these dowels will run through this log when it warms up. Mycelium's kind of dormant now, and so these mycelium dowels are actually kept in a refrigerator to keep them from running. If we left this bag of mycelium dowels out and it gets warm, we'll actually have mushrooms growing out of there. Good hammering. Okay, these mushrooms, I'll show you this. That's who we get them from. All right. These ones are shiitakes, and the strain is Night Velvet. Ooh. Okay, keep putting them in, and then we'll turn it, and Jim can do some drilling. Now, when the logs produce mushrooms, they call that fruiting, right? And these logs are not going to be real fruitful the first year. The first year, the mycelium will run through this log, and you might get a few here and there. Right by the site of the plugs, you might get a few shiitakes come out, and they'll be perfectly good to eat. But the next year is when they'll really work well. And there's a technique known as forced fruiting. Go ahead, you can turn that one and start to drill it. Where you'll take the log and you'll immerse it in a body of water, like a tank or a pond or something like that, and you want to let it soak. So if you can soak it for 24 hours, that's perfect. We take a trough up there and we fill it with water and let the water get warm, and then soak the logs in it, and that's called forced fruiting. All right, Jim's doing the drilling here, so there you go. Okay, and then Frank's going to put the plug in. Team. Okay, my kids love doing this. They love it. They would rather do this than just about anything, especially opening bread. All right. Now you can see that we've cut this log into about 4 feet. When we get the firewood, this stuff is delivered. I buy this from a professional logger. And when we get it, it's in about 8-foot lengths. So we cut them in half. And what that does is it gives us a length of wood that we can handle. You know, if it's too long, it's too heavy, it's hard to maneuver around. So we can handle this, 4 feet, no problem. And I think I'll show you where we set them up in the next video. There's a lot of information about this online. I went to a class several years ago, learned a lot. There's people that do this for a living. You know, they'll just be setting logs up constantly, and they have areas where they do it. Keep going. You guys will stop if you don't stay after them. But for a family like ours, this is just a sideline. You know, it's just something fun to do, and it, like today we did this much. So we picked 10 logs, cut them in half, so there's 20, and we have 2 different strains that we're using. And I think we'll probably do another day of this. It's getting to be on towards dinner time now, so we'll be going in, calling it a day. It's cold out. This is the other strain. It's called Beltane. All right, my wife picked these out. I don't know if that's one we've ever had before. This type of mushroom is pretty easy to do. And if you want to try this, you can just get these logs, you know, from firewood logs. They don't have to be 4 feet long. You can make them 2 feet long if you wanted to. You can make them a foot long if you wanted to. And you could pick a place inside to do them if you wanted to, in your basement. It needs to be someplace that's cool, and it needs to be someplace that's out of the sun, because this, you know, the sun would dry that log right out. That log has a lot of moisture in it, and that's the moisture that the mycelium will use to run through that log and get the entire log inoculated with that mycelium. The mycelium uses the log as food, and the fruit will be the mushrooms that come out of it. And some of the questions I get pretty frequently are, well, will another mushroom grow on there that maybe could be harmful to your health? The class that I went to, the man said, no, that doesn't happen. And he's from Wisconsin. So, I mean, they don't lie over there. I mean, they always tell the truth, way over in Wisconsin. So, yeah, no. And we've been doing this for a while, and nobody's died from eating these mushrooms. Not one of the kids has died. See, they're all still alive. And we eat them a lot. I mean, when they come in, you have a lot. And so we're eating mushrooms on everything. And it's really fun because after you have a rain, the kids will go out there and it's, you know, the logs will be barren, and then you go out there after a rain and there's beautiful mushrooms all over them. They'll get to be about as big as your hand and they're just beautiful. Kids cut them off, bring them in the house. Garlic, butter, you're in business. Okay, over 10 minutes. It's Mark from Baker's Green Acres. Remember, anyone can farm mushrooms.